Whenever you watch a movie, how does the image make you feel? Of course, the image is the first thing you're going to see, as well as the audio, but we're not talking about audio today, we're talking about image. And when you look at the first image, the first visible frame that has detail and color and that's, distinguishable, how do you feel when you look at it? How does it make you feel? This is what I am basically always trying to find out. It's what I'm always trying to basically study and research. It's more of my duty, even as a cinematographer, really, more specifically, to understand why an image makes a person feel the way they feel. So I devised a little bit of a test, and this is all has to do with just two things: lighting and color. And this is just part one of this little series on lighting and color. But mainly it's going to probably be mostly focused on lighting, as people have been asking me a lot for lighting stuff. So here you go. Now I'm in Photoshop. You can't see it, but I have pulled up image number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Now I put all these images up on my Instagram, and I put them up in different series. So I first put them up on, 1 versus 1, and then all 4 against each other, more of a free for all reply. But let's first take a look at what I'm calling image number 3 and image number 1. That's what I put up against first. Now image number 1 had no lighting at all whatsoever. It was just the window lighting, a completely natural lighting is the more accurate term for it. And the natural light coming from this window makes the scene feel kind of flat to my eye, but let's not get too much into my opinions. Let's look at number 3. This scene was lit and it was helped. I wanted to kind of make it look like more of a morning scene. So this was actually lit with some artificial lighting, helping the scene out a lot. Definitely brings it out to me. But it seems like most people who replied to me definitely agree, because this had an 88 to 12% favor on the Instagram poll between 3 and 1. 3 absolutely crushed it, being people's favorite between 3 and 1. Some people still voted on 1, but 3 definitely won out for sure. And then I did a second test between number 2 and number 4. And 4 still won. Of course, this was a little more even, as I believe both of these were definitely artificially lit and more on the same scene. More similar in terms of the intensity of lighting, but definitely still similar, but definitely different in terms of their style, is what I'm just saying. But then I put the images up against each other, all 4 of them, number 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the grouping. And I basically said, out of these 4, which is your favorite? And 3 got by far the most amount of votes. A couple said 4. I even got a rating from someone who said 4 is the best one, 3 is the second best one, and then 1 is the next best one, and then 2 is their least favorite, or not the worst one, or the least best one, which is interesting to me because this really tells me a lot about the psychology of lighting and color and what it says to people. I mean, of course it does also, there's a little bit of a difference on what is in the frame, my facial expressions in the frame, that does play a part. And of course, like in 4, I have my glasses on. I kind of wanted to give it almost a Matrix vibe, but that of course all plays a part into the psychology here. So out of all of them, 3 definitely won out between the individual polls as well as the major, 4 against 4 poll. So 3, why 3 though? That's what I asked myself. I was like, okay, 3, I like 3 a lot, but actually I still like 4 way more as a filmmaker. And I think I figured out why, but before I really understood this, I did ask my actual film instructor at my college what he thought of this. And he said, and I quote roughly what he said is, without any context, 3 would have won outright because of the temperature of the colors and the way it makes the way the scene feels, because there's no context in this scene, but all the combinations here really tell the viewer that this is more of a warm scene. It's more inviting, it's more comfortable, which is, you know, understandable. I mean, the scene, just, I made it to look like that. And 4, a lot, I told him a lot of the filmmakers like 4, and he's like, absolutely, because it's definitely more stylized, it's more moody, it's also looks like it's more of like an action film in a way. So, you know, that makes perfect sense to me. 2 and 1 are definitely the lesser of the more voted out right ones. 1, I'm surprised is more favorites than 2, because 1 is not even very well lit at all, but I feel like 2 definitely gives away the whole, you know, vibe, because it's very dark. It looks very depressed, and I completely understand why people, I mean, when the brain looks at something like this and it makes it feel a certain way, it's like, oh, I'm not sure, it's very depressed. I'm not sure I want to feel that, so it kind of rejects that feeling a little bit. Whereas we are attracted to number 3 here between the 4, because it's definitely the most inviting. Whereas 1 is kind of in a gray area for me. It's not lit, so, but then again, if we're looking at just pure emotion on the way it is lit, it feels kind of flat to me, which gives it kind of a neutral, if not darker emotion. But it's not as necessarily outright dark and depressing as 2, because 2 has the blue lighting, the blue moon, almost moonlight lighting, where it's really saying, okay, this is depressing. Blue we associate with sadness. That's the way that works. 4 has kind of this Matrix vibe, so we kind of think something's going on. That's a little bit cooler with 4. 3 is just comfortable. 3 is comfortable in my opinion. When I look at this scene, I feel very relaxed. So I think that's why 3 kind of won outright. And also the color's very natural. People who look at colors and think, oh, I like how natural this looks, I like how more of just inviting or really relaxed even the colors are. You know, it's not trying to push the colors one way or another. The colors are just kind of sound, and they're chilling in their rightful place. But it's also, and yet number 1 has natural colors, but the number 3 is actually lit. So I think that's also why the why 3 won outright, because it's lit, it's lit properly, but it also has the most natural colors, which I think more people are going to gravitate towards more naturally. So yeah, I think that was an interesting test. In terms of lighting, I actually just got a new light, and there was a reason I did this test. So I actually just got an Aputure 100X bicolor light, which I'll get way more into in part 2 with some more custom lighting setups. But I just really wanted to focus on this test for 3. I really just wanted to focus on this test for part 1 of this little series I'm doing. These videos could take a good bit of time to make, and in my busy college schedule, that's you know, I can only get so much video out per video. So, you know, if my videos are kind of short, that's why, but I rather make something shorter and nicer to watch. So hopefully you got something out of this. I sure did. I sure learned quite a bit about the science of color and the emotion behind color, as well as the motion behind lighting. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and of course I will see you in the next video.